Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. Two of the fan favorite champions in the history of the lightweight division in the UFC is Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira and Conor McGregor. In today's video, I'm going to be detailing who would win in their prime, Conor McGregor or Charles Oliveira. So for this hypothetical, Conor McGregor is heading into his fight with Eddie Alvarez, meaning that Conor McGregor in this hypothetical is going to be the one that fought Eddie Alvarez, whereas for Charles Oliveira, it will be the one that fought Dustin Poirier in their championship bout. Now, at this point, Conor McGregor does have experience at 155. He was the Cage Warriors champion at 155 in his regional promotion, but at this point in Conor McGregor's career, he had not fought at 155 for a while, and he was a regular in the 145-pound division, whereas Charles Oliveira started his UFC career at 145, jumped around, but at this point, up against Dustin Poirier, he had been a staple of the 155 division and had been there for a very long time. So I will definitely give the weight and size advantage to Charles Oliveira in this fight. Now, breaking down the grappling, I think is much more interesting than people think. Conor McGregor, especially at this point in his career, when he was fully dialed in, he was used to facing a lot of wrestlers at this point in his career. He would have extremely good takedown defense against Charles Oliveira. In fact, I think he would have good enough takedown defense to stuff most, if not all, of Charles Oliveira's takedown attempts. Watch the first round and really the first grappling sequence of Conor McGregor's fight up against Khabib Nurmagomedov. In that fight, Conor McGregor actually had some really nice scrambles on the feet. Where Conor McGregor really has his trouble in the grappling realm is once the fight hits the ground, he really gets stuck on the ground and he's very susceptible to ground and pound in other submissions. But again, watch that Khabib fight, watch the Chad Mendes fight, which would have already happened in this hypothetical scenario. He was very good at stuffing takedowns in that fight. And Charles Oliveira, though his wrestling definitely got significantly better and was probably at a high point in his career in this fight and in this hypothetical scenario, in my opinion, I think Conor McGregor would be able to stuff most of Charles Oliveira's takedowns. I do think this would be a striking battle. But we all know Charles Oliveira's main goal would be what his main goal was against Dustin Poirier: hurt him on the feet, make him think about the striking, and then go for a submission, whether it's taking the back while standing and going for that rear naked choke, playing dead, playing possum on the ground, and luring Conor McGregor into his guard. So I really do think that would be the game plan for Charles Oliveira. But getting on to this fight on the feet, Charles Oliveira, in the lack of eyesight that he has, he always talks about his bad eyes, and really the lack of head movement and his Muay Thai style of marching and walking forward and being fearless with a really good ability to recover. I think people mix up Nate Diaz and Charles Oliveira's chin with the recovery. I think Charles Oliveira has great recovery, but he doesn't have a great chin, and this is where the problems begin for Charles Oliveira in this fight up against a prime Conor McGregor. A prime Conor McGregor striking out of southpaw, he would be able to repeatedly tag Charles Oliveira with the 1-2. He would repeatedly tag Charles Oliveira with the teep to the body, the side kick to the body. The thing is about Charles Oliveira, he has really nice movement in the octagon, but the lateral movement in the movement once he enters the pocket is not good. He's very susceptible to huge shots. We saw him in his prime get repeatedly dropped over and over again, and it really was that recovery ability that won him the fights. But in my opinion, I think very early on in the fight, similar to what happened in both Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz fights, I think Conor McGregor would stun and drop Charles Oliveira with a straight left hand very quickly in this fight. In fact, I think in the striking realm, obviously Charles Oliveira is a much better striker than Eddie Alvarez, and I think Charles Oliveira would find much more success in the striking realm, and in fact, I think he would wither Conor McGregor away with some of the leg kicks, with some of the shots to the body, with some of the head shots up top, with that jab straight that Charles Oliveira does possess, with a lot of power coming out of his jab, and a lot of power with that lead left hook with Charles Oliveira. I think he would catch Conor McGregor a couple times in the first, second round, but really Conor McGregor would have his way with him in his prime for the most part on the feet up against Charles Oliveira. But where I see this fight going, Charles Oliveira repeatedly getting dropped but recovering, surviving into the third round. And we saw at this point in Conor McGregor's prime, he had not gotten tested late in a fight up against a fighter with an incredible ability to recover. We saw that really broke him in the Nate Diaz fight, and he gassed out very quickly. And at this point in Conor McGregor's career, he wasn't the most fit, in shape, well-conditioned 155er, whereas he was a bit kind of going up in a weight class. So at the start of the third round, Charles Oliveira would start to get his way in the striking department. He would start to really lead the dance and back Conor McGregor up against the fence, where up against the fence as a counter striker, Conor McGregor would still be able to land some shots. But I really see Charles Oliveira being able to back him up, distract him with his striking, and somehow get his back, take his back, choke him out. That would be my official prediction for this fight if it ever went down. Charles Oliveira latching up that rear naked choke from a standing position. He has Conor McGregor hit the ground because he needs to fend off the submission, and then Charles Oliveira would end up finishing Conor McGregor on the ground with a submission in the third round, because I think Conor McGregor at this point in his prime just was not battle tested up against a great striker and a great submission artist who also had an incredible ability to recover. Basically, Charles Oliveira is just a significantly better version of the Nate Diaz that ended up beating Conor McGregor and taking Conor McGregor to a controversial 5-round decision, even though I do believe Conor McGregor won that second Nate Diaz fight. Thanks for listening, guys. Do you agree or disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section below.